What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka the Center of Chaos and Controversy, and we'll talk about this trending story right here about Sha'Carri. Um, the girl is fast. This girl is like the road runner when it comes to this fucking 100-meter dash, and she did it in what 10.9 point something seconds. Um, but the controversy that's surrounding um her position in going to the Olympics or whatever was the fact that she had came up positive for THC. Now, a lot of people have voiced their opinions and went to the extent and the extreme of saying that it was racist. Now, before I get into this video, because you'll see coming out her mouth her position on the decision that was made and her accountability as far as violating the rules that was put into place. Now, if you go on a job and they tell you they have a strict drug policy, okay, um, and say for example you get hurt on the job, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to drug test you. The reason why they're going to drug test you is to say, hey, we had this policy put into place, and that basically determines on whether or not you was coherent or under the influence of, for the fact that an accident had taken place and who was at fault. So that pretty much takes the liability away from the employer. Okay, but if you come out to where the drug screen was clean, then you have a case. You can file for unemployment. You can file for workman's comp. And depending on the severity of your injuries and stuff, you can probably sue the job. Depending on the circumstances surrounding the incident. But anyway, here we go.
13 now with the stunning news tied to the Tokyo Olympics that we've been following all morning, Savannah.
Yeah, Sha'Carri Richardson, the U.S. women's 100-meter champion who dominated at the Olympic trials, has tested positive for marijuana following that race, and this morning that has put her Olympic future in doubt. Sha'Carri's going to be with us for an exclusive live interview just ahead. But first, more on Richardson's remarkable journey that's drawn her comparisons to the legendary FloJo and what could be a stunning disappointment for an athlete who's won the hearts of millions. With a blazing time and standout style, Sha'Carri Richardson recently punched her ticket to Tokyo. Richardson's going to Tokyo! Unbelievable. The fact that I am an Olympian.
Wait a minute.
What is said?
What is saying? Yeah, she looked like one of my exes that I dated back in the day. Hattie. She was Haitian. Anyway, but that girl got a stick of dynamite under her feet. She is, boy. You know how you be watching like the Looney Tunes with the Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote and stuff? That girl, you go, man, it looked like the wheels were turning. You barely saw her feet. She was flying. What the? Hey, man, I lost my train of thought.
At the Olympic trials, the 21-year-old
Yeah, she was
Dallas
giving
native
blessings to
won
her
the
mom
100
who
meter
had
dash
passed away.
in a blazing 10.86 seconds, making her the fastest woman in America. But now it appears her Olympic dreams may have been put on hold. A U.S. Olympic source telling NBC News she failed a drug test after her finals win,
Yeah,
testing
100.
positive for THC, the chemical found in marijuana. According to her lawyers, Sha'Carri has been suspended from the Olympic team, and her failed test may cause her to lose her spot on Team USA entirely. Her Olympic trial results were automatically disqualified when she tested positive.
Look
That
how
means
far behind
she
she
won't be allowed to
was.
compete in her signature
And she
event,
just
the
like
100
that Nas
meters.
just kicked
But
in.
there appears to be an outside chance she could compete
She got
in
that
a
Dominic
different event.
Toretto gene.
What's unclear is whether she will appeal the test results and the disqualification, or how long her suspension will last. NBC News has reached out
I
to the
think they said
USA
it was
Track
going to be
and
about a
Field
month
for official comment.
and enough time for her to
Sha'Carri
still
captured the
compete,
hearts of
I believe.
millions when she ran into the
Don't quote me
stands
on that.
after her victory and hugged her grandmother just a week after losing her biological mother.
My family has kept me grounded. This year has been crazy for me.
Family support. Look.
Going from just last week losing my biological mother, and I'm still here.
And after being notified of her failed drug test, Richardson tweeted yesterday, "I am human." Savannah. Chanel, thank you. And Sha'Carri Richardson.
Now, you know, sometimes when people say, you know, that's just a poor excuse, because you'll have some that'll say, oh, you know, that's just a cop out, just saying I am human. But I said it before, I'll say it again, time and time and time again. Nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do we make dumb decisions? Who hasn't? Poor choices. Who hasn't? Mistakes. Who hasn't? But we learn from the mistakes. And also, if you make a mistake, take accountability, responsibility for it. Don't make excuses. You know, don't point the finger to deflect and say, oh, you know, whatever case may be. Nah, right is right, wrong is wrong. You know, now there could be arguments on the severity of things, you know, and you can have an opinion about it, but until, you know, things change, you know, you have to respect the rules that are put in place until change comes about, you know.
Joins us now. Good morning, Sha'Carri. I just want to ask a simple question first. How are you doing?
I'm blessed to be alive. That's about
Humbleness, being humble.
This is not easy. This is a hard moment that you're in right
She
now.
moving like she ready to just
thank you
bolt.
for being on. And I know you wanted to tell your story. So tell me, you know, what happened? What led up to this positive test?
Just honestly,
Her real name is Nora.
For my actions,
People won't understand when I say why her name is Nora. Everybody who watches the show The Flash will understand who Nora is.
But not making an excuse or looking for any empathy in my case, but just however being in that position of my life, finding out something like that, something that I would say is probably one of the biggest things that have impacted me positively and negatively in my life when it comes to dealing with the relationship I have with my mother. So that definitely was a very heavy
I feel you on the loss of a mom,
and people
but at
don't
least, you
understand
know,
what it's like to have to.
at least in her case, because she speaks about her biological mom. So I'm assuming when people throw out the term biological that maybe, I'm just speculating, because I know when I talk about my biological mom, it's an indication that, you know, I've had another person to fill in the position or the role of being a mom because I wasn't raised by my biological mom. But I don't know. So I'm gonna just.
Or people do. We all have our different struggles. We all have our different things we deal with. But to put on a face, I have to go in front of the world and put on a face and hide my pain. Like, I don't know, who are you, or who am I to tell you how to cope when you're dealing with a pain or you're dealing with a struggle that you've never experienced before or that you've never thought you would have to deal with. Like, who am I to tell you how to cope? Who am I to tell you that you're wrong for hurting? So I think just honestly just leading up to that, dealing with my mental health, dealing with my mental as is with leading up to the games, every time stepping on the track, definitely expected to be a record breaking time or something like that. So just with that, pressure in itself was also just another thing. With this actually been my first full professional career, my first full professional circuit this year due to the pandemic. So just considering all of that put together, long time, my agent, my sponsor, my sponsorship, my family, knowing me dealing with all of this stuff. So,
I hope this doesn't affect her
Sha'Carri,
sponsorship either,
I just
because
want
I
people
know,
to
like,
understand where you're coming from,
that's
and
shaky
tell me
ground right there.
if this is correct. But it was a few days before your big race and the trials, you found out that your biological mother had passed away. You found out when a reporter told you, and it was after that
Excuse me.
you ingested some kind of marijuana. I should mention, you were in Oregon. It's legal in Oregon. You didn't violate any law, but it was against the rules of your sport, and as you said, you knew that. But is that what...
See, now that's the thing. Like, that's the catch-22 right there. You can be in a place where it is legal, as she pointed out, but being that you're in a position, that's kind of like saying, I don't know, like if you have a medical card or whatever, and you go to one of these dispensaries or whatever, but there's rules, to like you having possession of marijuana. Like you can't have it out the canister. You can't. It has to be in the pack that you bought it in, or the container that you bought it in. You cannot sell it, outside, because that's considered legal. I mean, there's stipulations to certain things and stuff. And of course, when it came to her being the athlete that she is, there was rules that she had to abide by. Even though outside of that whole construct, that arena, she had the right to smoke. So on a technicality, she didn't do anything wrong, but she was in violation of policy. Which again, these policies is what gets you.
happened? Is that how this unfolded?
Honestly, yes, that is the story. I had an interview scheduled with my agent. I knew I was having an interview. I knew going into the interview, I was just thinking it would be a normal interview, and then on the interview to hear that information come from a complete stranger was definitely triggering, was definitely nerve shocking, because it's just like, how are you to tell me that? It's like, and no offense against him at all. He's just doing his job, but definitely that sent me in a state of mind, in a state of emotional panic, if anything. And still knowing that even though I'm here, I still have to go out and put on a performance for my dream, go out there and still compete to what it is. So yes, definitely triggered, and from there just blinded by emotions, blinded by sadness, blinded by just hiding hurt, honestly. For the fact that I know that I can't hide myself, so at least in some type of way, I was just trying to hide my pain.
I'm gonna put it like this. And I'm gonna make a comparison. To where I say understanding has to come into play with a lot of things, despite how we might feel, despite opinions we might have, or whatever the case may be. You are always seen, to some degree or to some extent, expected to put on a mask, so to speak, cover or hide your emotions, even though in your personal life you might have some kind of tragedy. You might have suffered a loss, or dealing with maybe pain, or a disease like cancer or something like that, but you put your best foot forward. um and a lot of people don't understand that we are not robots. We are human. We deal with emotion. We deal with certain things that happen in our life. And I'm not saying that, hear me, because when I make the comparison where I say the understanding comes into play. Now, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. Okay. Um, there was a video, and I think it was a lieutenant or a sergeant or whoever, and I forgot what the story surrounded, but I think they were trying to attack a cop or something, not physically, but assassinate his character, and the captain he said, you know what, some of you people don't know the mental toll that it takes as an officer when we go out to some of these shootings, and we see a dead kid laying in the street, and we have to be the ones to go and inform the family that, we found your child based on a gang, hit or retaliation, and unfortunately your child was caught in the middle of that madness, you know, and we have to be the ones, if we get there in enough time, to, maybe preserve that life until the EMTs arrive, and we're trying to do everything within our power to stop the bleeding, render uh, aid and damn, probably whatever the case may be, CPR. Yeah, that's sorry, it's early and I'm trying to like get the time, so because I have to go get my son. Um, Run CPR and stuff like that, to make sure the person's breathing again and stuff. There, and I know like I'd be hard when it comes on cops, but it's again the accountability for the officers that don't do what they're supposed to do. But for those that do what they're supposed to do, some of these things we don't give them credit for. Okay, here we go. Where I'm talking about balancing the scales. We don't know what's going on in their personal life. We don't know the things that they have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You know, but sometimes, like, when you have high expectations of people and they do things to disappoint you, it kind of like crushes you. You know what I'm saying? And then, but in her case, she made no excuse. I mean, she's giving an explanation, but it's basically saying, no, that's not the excuse. This is how I had to cope with what I was dealing with, at the time. Here's my reason why. Because a lot of people say, well, if you did this, why did you smoke marijuana? So basically she's getting ahead of that, as far as, doing her PR and saying, you know what, I'm not saying what I did was right. I'm not making an excuse, but if you want to know the reason, here's the reason. Take it or leave it. I'm not gonna go any further into this because this basically just highlights the whole issue. I know there's many arguments that stated that smoking weed, it doesn't enhance your performance. Basically, what it does is it does help people with pain, whether it's physical or emotional. Um, Studies have proved in the medical field the positives, some of the remedies that it has when use it appropriately, and yeah. Um, it's unfortunate. Hopefully, there's not too much. I think they suggested that if she does, if she is able to compete, it might not be in the same event. She might have to do something different. If I'm correct on that, pretty much. But yeah. Well, anyway, until next time, until next video, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate the support that my subscribers have given me. I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to be a part of your lives, so to speak. I'm trying to get better with this. There is a subscriber that I have subscribed to. I gotta get his name because he's new and I just came across his videos and stuff. Um, and we are all different, and I'm saying this as a side note as far as growth is concerned. I know my videos may be a little explicit as far as the content and the language, and that's basically how I am. You know, I might use the reason, hey, I'm an adult. I can use whatever form of language I choose to, but I try to not be off the rails with it, so to speak. Because I do want people to believe or think that I have some type of sense to me, some maturity. As I said, you know, I've done my best to take or tone down or even eliminate the N word out my vocabulary. You know, recondition the way I speak. Get out that ignorant mode, as you would may say, or but it's all part of growing. It's all part of maturity and being better, so to speak. And sometimes we make decisions that might sabotage a good thing, but it isn't to say that we are unable to bounce back, because you know we can always pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and continue. But anyway, again, I appreciate the support. I appreciate the subs. Thank you for listening and giving me your input. Um, and yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, until next video, peace.